So welcome back to my channel. This is Dom and an update on some of my latest painting projects. Been cracking through the backlog and, if I'm honest, adding to the backlog quite freely, so a bit of a frustration, but I can't stop buying lovely figures, and these guys are a case in point. These are the latest wave of English Civil War figures from Richard at Bloody Miniatures. We had him on the Plastic Crack a few months ago now, talking about his inspiration for doing these sort of skirmish, small group English Civil War figures that he felt sort of missing in the market. And, you know, he certainly has done a fantastic job with the commissioning of these beautiful sculpts. So this is actually 4 different packs. You can buy a job lot of the all 16, they're all metal, all 16 of the new wave for £30, I think it is, from Richard. Or you can buy individual packs as you wish. There's Storming Party, there's not poachers, gamekeeper type figures. I can't remember exactly, but if you want to know exactly about them, check out his website, but also have a look at Martin's review. Seventh Son did a great comparison with how these figures stack up, because he loves them too. So my concept with these guys was I wanted them to be in one unit. I wanted them to be almost like a dirty dozen. So drawn from different units in the army to form a storming party, and I just thought that was in character with them. You've got the guy here at the front with his blast armor on, a couple of guys with double pistols, this guy here with a knife and a sword. You've got various sharpshooters. There's a guy at the back here who's got a grenade and an axe. This guy at the back here has got a gunpowder barrel, and I just thought that it was just perfect for that. So the concept is it's a dirty dozen, or dirty 16, a ragtag group of guys brought together to storm the breach. Within pike and shot, the rule set I use for English Civil War, you can use a storming party. I think you're allowed 1 per army. So this is going to be my 1, I think. I just think they're fantastic models. I just love the variety, the animation, the different weapons they've got. I just love them all. They came in. I got them a couple of days later than Martin. He was annoying me by showing off his wonderful ones, and I was thinking, mine haven't arrived. But they did arrive, and they went straight to the front of the painting queue, and I whacked them out. I mean, they're not that complicated to do because they're all in, kind of drab colours. Although I did put a couple with quite bright cloaks on. I just thought, just for a bit of variety, this guy's got a lovely blue jacket on, and I just went with the flow, really. I'm mainly doing a royalist army for English Civil War, as you probably know if you've seen the channel for any length of time. But the beauty of this period, if you're not too Button County, you can swap them out and be in pretty much either side, parliamentarian or royalist, but just don't tell them because they don't fight as well if they're parliamentarian. So these are going to be royalists. Beautiful figures, really, really nice job. I think, look at the standard of that. I mean, this guy here is just loading his musket. Absolutely brilliant. So there you go, that's them finished. And into the English Civil War box they will go. So next up, this is a group of 20 Gaelic warriors. These are Warlord plastics, although a couple of them have got Warlord resin heads and shields, actually, for that matter. And so So let's start with the positives. They're very cheap. These Warlord plastics, really cheap indeed, and they've got reasonable detail on them. The other nice thing about them is that the box set they do for them comes with the shield transfers, and they're the easy ones to put on. So you just literally get them wet and slip them off and pop them on the shields, and they stick really, really well. Not as fiddly as the probably better designed, but more fiddly other ones you can get from Little Big Man and so forth. So that's a positive for them. However, my negative with them is that the torsos and the legs have to be fit together, and they are buggers to get just right. And I find some of the poses you end up with just bizarre. I mean, look at this guy here. I mean, yeah, I mean, he's sitting snugly in his base, in his trousers, but it's just got a weird body shape, and I think that happens on a few of these. So they're not my favourite, although, you know, I was talking about it down the club, and one of the guys, Paul, has got a really, really nicely painted Britain Army, which is largely based on these plastics, and he's done a really good job. So maybe it's just me, but you know, you can do some nice things, like this guy's bent down with his spear, and he's got a head in his left hand under his shield. You know, as I say, they're peanuts. They're very, very cheap to do, less than £1 a figure, and very easy to paint up. So I'm still not sure what I'll do with these, whether they'll just go into eBay or whether they'll go into my stash of ancient figures. We'll see. But another 20 ticked off. So this is a group of 16 American War of Independence British Grenadier Guards. I've had a funny story with these ones. Well, funny. Annoying story for me, because I bought these 2 or 3 years ago, maybe 3 years ago now, on a Kickstarter. These are from Brigade Games. And they do some lovely figures. They're quite slender. And my frustration with is always the weapons are very soft metal, so they bend very easily. But anyway, lovely models. And I bought into this Kickstarter. I'd previously bought into a couple of their Kickstarters for AWI and loved them, and went back in with these Grenadiers, and 24 of them. I painted up first 8, which 8 is the standard unit in sharp practice, which is mainly what I was using AWI figures for, and I got really bored painting them. Just didn't enjoy them, wasn't very happy with the result I got. And these other 16 have sat on my desk, actually in my bedroom. Every time I go and do anything, I see them sitting there, and it's been frustrating me for 2 years, but I haven't wanted to get going with them. A few weeks ago, a week or so ago, I decided I'd have another go at them and put into practice some of the sort of learnings I've had over lockdown, some of the improved painting techniques I've learnt. And I'm really, really pleased with how these came out. And actually, once I got started, they came out swimmingly. They have base colour. The red coats is base colour with one of the contrast red paints, very dark colour, and then I've used over the top scale 75 red, which gives a really matte colour. Yeah, the effect I think is really, really good. Really pleased with how they came out, and just by comparison, that's one of the original ones, and I think that was okay, but these are really good. I'm really pleased with them. So yeah, that's them done, and off the painting tray and off my conscience shelf. So I won't take too long showing off these fellas, because you've probably already seen them if you've watched some of my videos. These are some of the epic Napoleonic Waterloo set from Warlords. This was one of the sprues I picked up at Salute, the British sprue, obviously. I had a British sprue and a French cavalry sprue. You'll be getting them on December's War Games Illustrated magazine if you get that. And I just painted them up quickly to see what they're like, and they came out okay. Again, I won't do too much on these, because if you're interested, you'll know well about them, and you've probably seen the video. Got a Royal Horse Artillery gun, which I really like, actually. It's really good. You've got 5, I based them like I have my other 15 mils. So there's 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 Dragoon Guards, heavy cavalry, 4 Scots Greys, and 6 Household Cavalry. That's what comes on the British heavy cavalry sprue. They're what they say on the tin. Basically, they're easy to do. fairly simplistic. But as you've seen on the video I did, they scale up quite well with old school 15 mils. Probably not so good with the newer scale. But they're done, and this video is a record of my painting, so they're here. So from the little fellas to one of the big fellas, this is a Games Workshop. Well, I think it's a Games Workshop troll. It's from Lord of the Rings. I say I think so because I don't really know. I picked this up. Sadly, somebody came down to the club one Friday night with a number of figures and odds and sods from an old gamer's collection that had sadly died and was selling them off for charity. Now this fella came in. It was just in a box with all. It's a metal piece. And it was all individual pieces, so it was, you know, the head was separate, the arms were separate, the weapon was separate, the legs were separate. And I just don't know why, just on impulse, I thought I'll have that and I'll just try it out. And I wasn't even sure, actually, the guy selling it, to be fair, didn't even know whether or not it was complete, but it seemed to be, and sure enough it was. So I quite enjoyed doing this. I mean, it was sort of, it looked like it had been undercoated before, but obviously hadn't been properly assembled, so I put it together, used a bit of liquid green stuff to fill the gaps. Not sure the arm position is quite right for the axe or the club that he's using, but or hammer, sorry, that he's using, but it seemed to be the only way the arm would actually go. It's quite a dynamic figure, actually. I quite like it. Sorry, my phone's going off. I quite like him. He's for an old model, being given a new lease of life. Not sure whether I'll ever actually use him, but was fun to do. And you know, one of the things I've noticed in recent months has been just changing it up, doing different things like demons and dragons and trolls. So there you go. That's that fella done. So, as well as the troll and a few other bits and bobs, I picked up these Gaelic fanatical warlord warriors from this chap selling off the I guess the last estate, wargame estate of one of the wargamers at the club. And these fellas are more. It's a bit of a cheat putting them on here as my painted job because basically I recycled them. You know when you get a box and just there's a whole load of metal figures all shoved in them and there's weapons all over the place and arms bent and everything's sort of scratched and battered. And I saw these fellas and I just thought they need a bit of life built into them again. So I took them. Actually, when I sort of straightened out weapons and broke them off the horrible bases they were on and actually took stock of them, they weren't too bad. I had to touch up, sounds a bit rude with naked fanatics, but I had to touch up some of the skin tone. There were a few bits where the metal was showing through underneath. I think possibly one or two of these had shields originally. They've long been lost, and I may well put some more back on, but obviously where the shields have been ripped off, a lot of the skin tone had pulled off as well. So I touched all that up. I put a skin tone wash over the top, and then sort of worked on a bit of the hair colours. Were all basically had all the same hair colours, very glossy sort of yellowy colour, and I use contrast paints just as a sort of wash effectively onto the top, and that seems to have worked quite nicely. So the weapons, all the spears were bent and damaged, so they got a bit of a TLC. A lot of the weapons, the heads or the hairs, any hair anyway, the helmet's got a non-oil wash, and the belts and what have you. And then I put a bit of gold paint on the bangles and the torques and that sort of thing. But otherwise, they're largely how they came, just tarted up. And then obviously put them on circular bases using some of the Vallejo mud to sort of make them look a little bit more interesting base-wise. And I'm quite pleased with the upshot of them. I think they've come out quite well, recycled, reused. We're all green these days. And these actually will stand out quite well, I think, stand the test of time. I don't know where they're from, who's the manufacturer, but they'll stand the test of time and will slot into my ancient collection quite nicely. So there you go. That's what I've been working on the last couple of weeks. Been not quite as productive as previous weeks because I'm also at the same time trying to put together the man cave, the stronghold for being able to use that from now on. So putting up shelving and getting all the sort of equipment I need in there, and soon I need to actually start moving put a lot of my terrain in there, but I also need to start moving the figures in fairly soon. So that's sort of eaten into my painting time, but it's all in a good cause, and hopefully moving forward the videos that I do will be coming from there, not from here, the dining room table. Anyway, I hope you're doing well. I hope you're staying well. Thanks to all the subscribers. We're creeping up to 2,000. Woo! If you haven't already subscribed, please just hit that button. Really makes me feel good. And hopefully you get some interest and entertainment out of the rubbish I put up on YouTube. As I say, hope you stay safe, stay well. I hope your project's coming along as well as mine, and I will see you all soon. This is Dom, signing out.